Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Michael Essek live stream. It is 3 p.m. here in the UK. Very cold outside, but nice and warm in here. Who've we got today? Ray is first. Ray says, Hi, Michael and all. Grey Elephant Club from sunny Cleveland, Ohio, in the US of A. And who was next? Evil Bit. Good morning from Lampasas, Texas. Tomotomi, good evening from Lithuania. Dina says hi. Matthias from Dusseldorf. Jacqueline is here. Dick from Harrison, Michigan. Hey ho, says Much by Paul. Crystal Raymond, good morning. Matthias, good morning. Wake up. I'm awake. I'm here. Eddie says hello. Backstage says trembling. Code Whisperer says hola from Texas. Kevin says good morning. And Holloway says good day, peeps. Nicholas is here. Amira, good morning from cold Georgia. Going to 65 today, though. And Rob says, greetings from South Africa. Lance is here from Florida. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for joining me today. This is going to be the last T-shirt design review session of 2020. It's been a couple of weeks since we did a T-shirt design review session. I've been doing some more teachy sessions over the past few weeks, but I'd like to shake it up. And I thought we should do one more of these before we round out 2020. So there will be a live stream next week. Next week will be the last one of 2020. I'm going to take a couple of weeks off for Christmas and stuff. And then we'll come back in the new year and take it from there. Backstage Cam from Finland is here. Alfredo from Colombia. Ryan from Nebraska. Wonderful to have you all joining me. And Ilka from Germany is here too. Great. Okay, should we get into it today? I think why not? If you can give a thumbs up and subscribe, that'd be wonderful. Thank you for your cooperation. Today's plan, like I said, the last design review session of 2020. So I have not a ton of designs today. I think maybe we have about 15 or 20, if that, to go through today. So we're going to take a look at those. You don't need to be nervous. I'm not going to go through each one and call out names. They are anonymized. So you should see your design if you sent a design for review yesterday. I think I've caught everyone who sent one. So you should see your designs. I've batched them into groups, and I'm going to go through each one and give you my thoughts and my tips and my advice and stuff like that. Angie is here, and Gerardo. Hola. And Gary is here too. Good afternoon to you, Gary. So yeah, that's the plan, a design review session. Of course, as usual, regardless of what the session is, today you can ask me questions as we go. You can ask me questions about the designs that I'm reviewing, or you can ask me questions about T-shirt design in general, or you could ask me about Redbubble or Much by Amazon or Shopify or Printful or Printify or anything you want. I mean, you could ask me about politics, but it's probably not going to help. Or you could ask me about sports, but I'm not very good on that either. So it's probably best if you just ask me about T-shirt design. So Irina is here too. Ho, ho, ho to you. And AAA says, hey from my sick bed. Sorry to hear that, AAA. Hopefully you'll feel better after this session. So yeah, this is the last live stream. This is the last T-shirt design review. Next week will be the last live stream of 2020. So next week, I think what I'm going to do is kind of a lessons from 2020, and I'll do some predictions for 2021 around print on demand, maybe what artists and designers should be paying attention to for 2021, maybe some things that you might want to give a bit of attention to over the Christmas break. So yeah, that's the plan for next week. Top Gun movie fans is here. Good to have you here. And Eric Cantona, who is not only joining us in the comments, he's also here on my chest. This was a Christmas sweater that I got as gifted recently. So thank you, Eric, for joining us. It's good to have you here. Joe, hey, Michael, blue sky and sunny in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, USA. That sounds very good. Yeah, it's certainly not frosty, but it's certainly cold here in Cheshire, and getting colder, I think. I have a couple of heaters on. I had to buy myself another little heater this week because my office is like it's on the top floor of my building, so it gets quite cold up here. So yeah, I'm having to wear a sweater, get my heater on. just to keep warm and stay alive. Lance, hey, Michael, let's get it popping. Yes, sir, let's do it. Okay, so there we go. Today's plan, last design review of 2020. Ask questions about anything you like as we go. And last live stream will be next week. That'll be the last one of 2020. Then we'll be into 2021, and we'll take that from there. Okay, so I've grouped these designs into, I think there's 3 main. Oh, sorry, I have another intro slide. Let me just do this one. Yeah, if you're joining us for the first time, you don't know what this is about. I'm Michael Essek. I'm a t-shirt designer. I've been selling and licensing art commercially for several years, but mainly through online. So places like Redbubble, TeePublic, Merch by Amazon, selling on Shopify store, and doing some offline art licensing as well. So if that's something you're interested in, this live stream is for you. It's primarily aimed at those who are designing for apparel, so t-shirt designers, people who are selling via print-on-demand sites like Redbubble and some of those others I just listed. Also, if you have your own Etsy store, or you have your own Shopify store, or you sell your own merch for whatever it might be, maybe you're a YouTuber, streamer, or a band or something, and you create merch and you sell it online, then I think you'll also get something out of these sessions. And really, one of my main goals is to help people, in particular designers, creatives, illustrators, artists, build a sustainable business from their art. So that's what I've done over the past few years, and I think there's a pathway for people online. It's easier than ever to create and produce something original and great, and to find and build over time a sustainable business on the back of that artwork. So that's really my overall goal for these sessions. So if that's something that kind of fits with you, then stick around. Okay, I've got 3 groups of designs here. I'm going to take each design one by one because we don't have too many designs. So I do have a bit more time, I think, in this session. Obviously, I'll take questions as well, so we don't need to be in too much of a rush. But I will leave a bit of time at the end if you want to save your questions till then. But don't feel you have to. You can ask whatever. So this first group, I've kind of grouped them in tiers, rough tiers, based on designs that I think really need to kind of go back to the drawing board for some reason, or really could do with quite a bit of improvement. Designs that maybe have something but needs help, and then ones that are probably the best of the bunch as I see it. So we don't have names attached to any of these, so this is completely anonymous. This is the way I'm going to do design reviews from now on. If I do them next year, I'm not really sure what the plan is next year, but you don't have to worry about me calling out your name or anything like that. We're going to anonymize this kind of stuff from now on. So let's see here. A few more comments. Top Gun movie fan says it's cold here in Scotland. I'm not surprised about that. Teddy says good morning. And Cher, Annalise says good morning from California. Good morning to you, Cher. Okay, so first batch of designs here. Let me take each one of these and get my little pointer so I can show you what I'm pointing at. So yeah, I'll kind of take each one in turn, and let's see how we go. So starting up here with this design, this says chess, and it's on some kind of basketball logo. I'm afraid there's very little I can say about this. It makes no sense to me. I don't know if there's a joke I'm missing. I don't think there is. I think it literally just says chess on a shape, on a circle that looks like a basketball. I don't think it's supposed to be funny. I could be wrong, but either way, it's really not making much sense to me, and I can't really give any improvement because I have no idea really what it's about. So sorry about that one. Whoever sent that one in. German short hair pointer pop whisperer. So here we have a design that I think we can make a guess about kind of what the idea here is and what the kind of person they're targeting. And just let me stop a second and just share this. You've heard me say this before, but here's something to accompany it. The 3 big questions you should ask when designing any t-shirt: who is going to wear it, why would they want to wear it, and how are they going to find it? Those are the 3 big questions, and I think as we go through these designs, I'll comment on those for each one. And I think particularly for this puppy one, we can see who they're trying to target. Obviously, they're trying to target people who are into or own and like German short hair pointers, or even German short hair pointer pups. And they've gone for an approach of kind of labeling the wearer. So, of course, if you were wearing this design, you would be saying, I am a German short hair pointer pup whisperer. Or, in other words, I am able to commune with German short hair pointer pups. So I think there's we've kind of got a tick on the first one. Who is going to wear it? Yes, okay, you've named someone, you've targeted a group, and that's good. That's a good start. Why would they want to wear it? I guess we could say because they are into German short hair pointers, which is true enough. That's a legit answer. I think the problem with a design like this is there's not a lot. The design looks amateurish. We've got, for some reason, this kind of black letter almost kind of font, which I'm not sure is that appealing, especially when you're dealing with a kind of puppy that's supposed to look cute, and that's kind of maybe the overall vibe you want to give off. Also not sure why we've got a kind of weird purple aura behind the pup. And of course, the kind of big obvious problem is this is a photo of a dog rather than an illustration. And I think that usually doesn't look great on t-shirts. It's not going to look great when it's printed, but also it's not giving a lot of clarity in a thumbnail. It doesn't give, a nice quick visual that people can grab onto. Just like if you just glance at this, for example, the dog's head kind of blends into the background a bit. So we've got design issues. With the concept, we have something decent, German short hair pointer pup whisperer. In my opinion, it's really specific around that particular breed, which is fine. Of course, people buy them. I'm not saying someone who was into German short hair pointers wouldn't buy this, but I think you can increase your chances of selling by drawing a illustration of a German short hair pointer and designing it in such a way that's going to be more appropriate and is going to look more cute, where the elements are tighter together and where we don't have a creepy kind of purple aura emanating from our pup. So that's that one. Patrick says early morning in California. Yes, I'm sure it is, Patrick. Merry Kitmas. And we have a couple of kittens poking out of a Christmas stocking. My mind went blank there for a second. So this design, of course, I think the problem with it is that it's just very generic. I think, if we can say that, like, that's the problem with a lot of these designs, is there's not enough originality going into them, and there's usually design issues on top of that are damaging them as well. So Merry Kitmas, that's fine, as a phrase, but I imagine it's been done nearly to death. And I think if you were to just sit down for 10 minutes and just say, okay, well, who's this targeting? Well, of course, it's a Christmas design for people who are into cats. So just taking those two bits of information, Christmas and cats, and just spending 10, maybe 15 minutes just brainstorming ideas, I reckon even if you're really, really, really bad at coming up with puns and jokes and ideas for t-shirts, I reckon you could come up with something better than Merry Kitmas. Because I imagine that a phrase like that has been done to death. So that would be my first piece of advice. Just go back to the drawing board and see if you can do something more original, because it's not really that strong. And again, design-wise, we've got some issues. It doesn't look especially like a t-shirt design. We've got, again, photos. We've got photos of a stocking, photos of cats. We've got a font that's okay, but it's not gelling with the rest of the design, and things are quite disparate. There's no interplay between the elements. So yeah, there's design issues, and principally, I think, of course, there will be a lot of Christmas cat t-shirts that are sold over this period, but the problem you've got is this doesn't look like a t-shirt. It's not that visually appealing. It's got some things going for it. For example, you've got it on a green background with the red. There's not too many colors going on, but I think it's really going to struggle to make a dent in such a broad, generic niche as cats and Christmas time. So hope that helps you. Lance, you can find someone on Upwork to turn the photo of a dog into an illustration and do that for other breeds. Yes, of course, you could. If you're not an illustrator, you can hire an illustrator as well. And Tarin says, good evening from India. Good evening to you, Tarin. Okay, let's do this one. Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho. Again, you can kind of maybe guess where I'm going with this one. This is even more generic. This is just a generic Christmas design with no attachment to any other niche or market, and that is a recipe for disaster, really. If you're just going to do a design that says Merry Christmas, you may as well scribble something random on a piece of paper and just throw it on a t-shirt. This is so generic that it's not going to make a dent. It's not going to be seen by anyone. And if it was, again, there's not a lot going for it that makes the design attractive. We've got a lot of colors going on, a very kind of basic clip arty style graphic. I'm not trying to be critical for the sake of it. I'm just trying to, give some constructive criticism and really tough love. The font is not interplaying with the design. There's no Christmas element to the font. Yeah, there's just no reason that a design like this would ever sell, I think, unless you happen to be able to put the arm behind the back of Amazon or something to make them show this design to everyone who searched for Christmas t-shirt. You might have a chance, but that's a very difficult thing to do. So yeah, I think that's the one that's really going to struggle. Okay, Tomotori. For some reason, the only platform my designs sell is TeePublic. I do Japanese cyberpunk style. Is it worth to try Amazon Merch Japan? I'm tier 10 and no sales about a year. So Tomo told me, there could be lots of different reasons that your designs are only selling on TeePublic and not selling on Amazon. If you're already selling them on Amazon, or you're trying to sell them and you've not seen any sales, then obviously that means something in the chain is not working there. So whether it's your designs, whether it's the targeting of your designs, whether it's the keywords you're using, something in the chain is broken. And your job is to figure out what that is. And it might be that, for example, there are not enough people on Amazon looking for designs like that. Now, if you can answer that one pretty quickly by just going and looking on Amazon and typing in some keywords related to your designs and seeing what comes up. Now, it could be that there's millions of designs and therefore you're simply not being seen because those search terms are too broad and there's lots of competition. Or it could be that there's not many designs, but there's simply not enough demand to generate sales. Of those two problems, I would rather have the second one. I think it's much easier to sell to a small group than it is to try and get sales in a big generic, search term. So I think I would say go and, if you're trying something and it's not working, then if you've been trying it for a year and it's not working, then obviously something's wrong. You need to change something if you want to see sales there. It might be a problem with your designs. You might be better off trying some different kinds of designs, or it might just be that those kind of designs are not going to sell on Amazon Merch, and you would be much better off just taking your time and spending it doubling down on TeePublic or other platforms that work. For example, TeePublic, usually I find the designs that sell well on TeePublic also sell well on Redbubble, also sell well on Etsy. People have different experiences based on the designs and the markets they're targeting. So everything is I can't sit here and say, oh, put those designs here and they'll be successful. It's all a case of trying stuff, and the only solid feedback you get is when you get a sale. Everything else is noise, really. Until you start getting sales, that's when you know that you have a channel that's really working for you. So that would be my advice there. John says the Amazon algorithm has changed. I've spent the last 7 days testing it, and it's clear that keyword stuff merch titles that sound like they're written by a drunk third grader will now hurt SEO. So interesting bit of information there from John about the Amazon algorithm. Okay, let's go this way. This design here is obviously very nice, but it features, is it Stitch? Is his name Stitch? I don't know. I've not seen the film. But anyway, it's a Disney film or whatever. So not a good idea. You could put this design up. It's going to get taken down pretty quickly. I would simply not recommend, doing designs based on movies, TV, anything like that that is IP that is not your own. A couple of comments here. Lance has a question. Question on customizing designs for specific product types on Redbubble or TeePublic. Do you customize each design for each product by using the resizing tool or use a custom PSD template? Lance, I typically go in and play with the resizing. The only difference there is the mugs, because if you want to have your design on like both side of a mug on Redbubble, then you need to upload a different artwork file, and also stickers, because sometimes if you're doing a design for a black t-shirt, you will need to put a border on that for the sticker to work on Redbubble. But apart from that, I don't really do any messing around. Okay. Maps are cool. Tomotomi, check if your designs have been stolen and are being sold by others on Amazon that are outranking you. Theft is a huge deal on Amazon. Yeah, certainly theft is a huge deal on all the platforms, and you do need to keep a close eye on that. I've just reported a few of my designs that were stolen on TeePublic this morning, and we're starting to climb up the rankings on the bestsellers. So yeah, that's just a constant thing, unfortunately, we have to look out for at the moment across platforms. Okay, let's get back to reviewing this one. So yeah, that's the Lilo and Stitch one. I just don't recommend that approach. Here we have, I don't really have a good name for these type of designs. I would maybe something shorthand like they are designs that get sold on Facebook via Facebook ads, because they're targeting specific groups of people. Again, I don't really have much to say about a design like this. Good luck to you if that's the kind of thing you're going for and you're trying to target. But I think it's a very difficult ask, and I don't think you could really, build a long-term business out of this kind of stuff unless you're a really good Facebook ad marketer and you're especially good at that. I don't see this kind of stuff working well going forwards on print-on-demand platforms. I think it's a very hard sell. Be positive. I mean, this is a nice enough little graphic. Again, I kind of feel similar to like the Merry Kitmas one. The idea has been done so many times, and there must be a lot of other bee puns that we could do, jokes around the word bee, apart from just be positive. Also, a design like this, because you've gone for a kind of realistic bee illustration, what that means is there's not a lot of emotion in the design. And something I've talked about previously, I like designs, and most of my designs feature a character, a cartoon-like character or illustration. And you've gone for a realistic style illustration here. And, imagine if you had a little bee and maybe he looks happy, he's doing a little walk. I don't know, you just get some more emotion in there, and it just carries the joke and the concept a little bit further. So that would be my advice for a design of that approach. But again, I think there's a lot of designs like this. There's a lot of puns which are done to death. They've been done a lot of times. That's not to say that you shouldn't, you can't do your own versions of those puns and do them in your own style. That's fine. But just be aware that, there's a lot of untapped resource out there. There's a lot of word play. There's a lot of jokes you could do. There's a lot of jokes and t-shirt ideas you could do for someone who's into bees. And this one's probably going to be hard to rank and to sell because so many people have already done that particular pun. So yeah, that's my approach on that one. And then I'll just do this one and then take some questions. I don't yoga, I sofa. Again, like this is a problem we hear a lot. If you're just doing a simple text design, why is someone going to want to wear this design? It's not visually appealing. You have to have a very strong joke, a very strong concept in order to sell a text-only design. You will see text-only designs selling pretty well almost all year round, but there'll usually be some kind of trend or some kind of joke, some kind of viral phrase or something. So you really have to be on top of that. And unless people are going around searching for I don't yoga, I sofa, that's a difficult sell. So again, my advice with a design like this or a concept like this is go and get some, go and develop it, get some illustration in there, get some emotion in there. You could do a cute design with an animal or something and make it look like a yoga design or something like that. There's nothing about this that's going to make someone click add to cart. It's not visually appealing. It's not, it's not a strong enough concept. You need more hooks. You need more of a hook to get something going there. Okay, let's take a few questions here. Last fruit. Now, with the pillows on Amazon, what would be your approach? Any good techniques to design patterns for pillows? Um, yeah, I mean, my approach whenever there's a product or a new product would be simply to ask: is there a wide open opportunity, an open goal around that product? And obviously, pillows are a very different product from t-shirts. Yes, you can put your t-shirt designs on pillows, but they're not always going to translate. For example, here we've got German short hair pointer pup whisperer. You put that on a pillow, it starts to make less sense. So, um, so yeah, most of my designs are primarily for t-shirts. I don't imagine they would translate brilliantly for pillows. I'm sure I've sold them, but it's not my goal. So yeah, I would start with whenever there's a new product, it would be what do people buy on pillows, and that's a pretty easy research task to do. Just go on Amazon or go on Redbubble and search pillow, see what the best sellers are, see what kind of patterns, as in what kind of designs are showing up. And I think it will be usually things like patterns and florals and color, block colors and abstract type designs, more artistic kind of stuff than it will be jokes and pop culture stuff, because I don't think that many people, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I'm not sure that many people want to decorate their homes with pop culture designs. Having said that, that's maybe bad advice, because I'm sure there are people who do that, and you only need to corner a small part of the market to actually make some decent income. So yeah, my advice is to see if there's some open opportunities, some wide open doors, and take advantage of those where you can. Apart from that, just keep the idea of the product at the forefront of your mind. And I wouldn't recommend, whacking everything on pillows, because I don't think it would make sense to do so. Dick, where do you find the template for Redbubble mugs? You can find them on the Redbubble website. They usually have templates for everything. There'll be a PSD template you can download. It will show you the guides, and you can simply line up your designs accordingly. Backstage Cam, what is the proofing process to show a design as yours? I'm not sure what you mean, what kind of scenario you're talking about there. The proofing process to show a design as yours. Yeah, so if you can clarify backstage kind of what problem you're addressing, like you're talking about people stealing your design, or you're talking about registering copyright for a design in the first place or something. Eileen, did you do a video on how to put a line around an image for stickers? I'm not sure I did, Eileen, but it's if you know Photoshop, then it's basically adding a stroke around your design. So if you take a design that was designed for a black t-shirt, so it's a transparent design, and then you simply add a nice thick black stroke to that design, then you should, as long as that stroke is thick enough, you should have basically a sticker that you can then upload to Redbubble. Melinda, Michael, are you ever available for private paid reviews on a few designs? I'd post here, but don't want to give away my brand. Yes, Melinda. Although I'm running low on slots right now, but if you email me, I will send you details. I have a calendar where you can book in, and I do an hour-long session for $150, but that price will be going up next year. But if you're quick, then I might be able to fit you in next week for an hour session. So yeah, just email michael@michaelessek.com about that. Facebook user says, be aware. So there's an obvious one, a B pun that isn't B positive, and you could do some fun with that as well. John says he reports stolen designs every single day, which is not surprising, especially once you get over a certain level. Last route. So you take the long... okay, that's a question about, I think, for John. T-Fury seems very hit and miss about designs being accepted or not, even when they're in the same style. Any advice or experience when using T-Fury? Yeah, my advice for T-Fury is be very good at the quality of your design. So the illustration quality needs to be very good. You can't just throw them amateurish type stuff. It needs to be really solid design-wise, and the concept needs to be on point with some kind of trend. I think, there needs to be something that they can tie it to, because with T-Fury, they usually like to put 2 designs a day, and they'll be on the same theme or something. So yeah, if it's not tied to something, and it doesn't look really great, then you're not going to have a good time with T-Fury. And And of course, like I don't really submit any more to T Fury, but I have submitted hundreds of designs to T Fury over the years, and maybe only 20, at the most 30% of those have been accepted. So yeah, just because your design is good and it's a good idea doesn't mean it's going to be accepted. It's still a kind of numbers game on sites like that. Lance says explore seamless designs, so like patterns for pillows and totes. Last fruit, are there ways in Illustrator to make patterns quickly or online tool for anything possible? Yeah, I mean, if you just do a search on YouTube or Google for seamless patterns Illustrator, you'll find a plethora of videos of people telling you how to do that inside Illustrator. Dick says pillows image only. Not sure what that means, Dick. If you can explain, that would be great. Amira, TeePublic offers a range of color options, but on Redbubble, on non-t-shirt, is it advisable to create different colors with the same design rather than risk losing a sale if there is only one color choice? Okay, yeah. So on Redbubble, you have to select the colors that you want your design to be offered on. So is it advisable to create different colors with the same design? No, I don't think so. I think people are going to land on a single design. I think this is what you're saying. You're talking about doing a different listing, taking the same design but listing at a separate time to offer it on a different color. I would not do that personally. I think that's probably just going to dilute results across the board. So I would just stick with one color and keep it simple. And if we're talking about how many colors to offer a t-shirt on, same issue with like Merch by Amazon, I would keep it around 3 at the most, 4 in extenuating circumstances. But yeah, 3 colors for a shirt is plenty. And a lot of my best-selling t-shirts I only offer on 1 color, and it really depends on the design. Okay, Speediest Sheaf. Michael, thank you so much for doing these live streams. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you very much. I am having a fine day. And Leanne says, hi from sunny South Africa. Backstage says, you said you had some of your designs stolen and you've taken action accordingly. If the design isn't really copied, how do you show it was actually yours? So yeah, well, if it hasn't been copied, then you can't take it down. For example, if you do this be positive design, but then someone else comes and does a be positive design that's not at all related to yours and doesn't really look like yours, then of course they haven't copied your design. That's a generic phrase that's out in the ether. It's not copyright infringement for someone to take that phrase and do their own version of it. What is copyright infringement is if you look at 2 designs side by side and you can clearly see that this one has copied this one. That's the case with the design I reported today. It's not a pixel for pixel copy of my design, but it's very clear to anyone with eyes that this design has copied this design. They've looked at this design, they've copied the layout, the colors, the illustration, and they've created their own, but they haven't, they obviously needed to see my design first in order to create theirs. So there is a bit of a line there. I'm not saying it's clear black and white, but if you file a DMCA and you have your design somewhere online, for example, I have a website, my own domain for my designs, so I simply link to that. I also make sure to send my DMCA requests from an email address, which is legal@mydomain.com, so it looks professional, and I'm looking like a legit business. So yeah, there's a few things like that I think probably help. But according to the strict interpretation of the DMCA law and protocol, as long as you show where your design is and you give them the necessary information, which you can find at the bottom of every print-on-demand site, if you look for DMCA or copyright information or something, or IP policy, you'll find it. If you give them that information, then they have to take it down, unless there's no legitimate connection between the 2 designs. So yeah, all you have to do is say, here's my design. This is my legit design. Could be on your own site. That's what I'd recommend, but could also be on Redbubble or TeePublic. As long as it's your design, you're claiming that one as your own. And then you're saying, this guy copied me, and you link to that one. Then technically, as long as they look similar, Redbubble should, or TeePublic or whoever, should take them down. So that's the way it usually works. So yeah. Dick says, say dog or any other image that is only of an item, no text. So I think Dick's asking images on pillows. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's all a case of try it out and see, suck it and see. I don't know if an image of a dog on a pillow is going to sell great. I think pillows are great for things like Lancet patterns, repeatable patterns, abstract art, and stuff like that. Grey Elephant Club, I purchased your book a while ago. Now you have an updated book. Do I get the updated version in ebook? Yes, you do. I do have it on my to-do list to email everyone and say, hey, you've got the latest update. You can go here and download it. If you do have a copy of the Little Book of T-shirt ideas, either a physical copy or you bought the ebook, then you should also have access to the new updated version via the online membership access, which you should have received an email from when you originally purchased. So if you go back and find that, it will be there, but I will send an email out about that before next week, just to remind everyone as well. Tomatore, Society 6 and Fine Art America are very complicated uploading, but maybe it's worth it for pattern design on other products than t-shirts. Yeah, could be. I mean, again, it's a case of trying things out and seeing what works for you. I do have a blog post about print-on-demand sites. I'll be updating that for 2021, but there's still most of the data in there is still pretty solid. Okay, I'll take a few more questions, then I'll get through these designs. Joe, please consider selling a PDF of your POD website build information without the platform you sell in the course. A PDF of your POD website build information. I'm not following you, Joe. If you can clarify that, I'd appreciate it, because I could see you're getting at something. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Gerardo, always has to be funny designs to make sales. No, absolutely not. Funny designs happens to be my bread and butter, but if you have a serious design, or it's just a design around something that someone might be interested in, it might be an aesthetic design that just looks very nice. Then yeah, there's lots of different categories and markets. Raymond says, late Ray, say hi. Hello to you, Ray. Eileen, thanks, Michael. I think I remember it now. No problem. I'm not sure what the hen and egg problem was about. Comments are coming in too thick and fast for me to get to. Eileen, if you have a design with a saying that you made up and it's selling well, would you recommend trademarking it? It is a really difficult question, Eileen, because I have situations like that. I have found that usually when I've come up with an original phrase and I've become the bestseller for that phrase, people are really quite lazy, which is to say that they will copy it, they will pixel for pixel it, and then I can get them taken down, or they will just do a lazy version and it won't sell as well because mine's better. So I would say if you have a design that's doing well and it's the best, and you don't think that it's likely to be challenged, then it's kind of like 50-50. Do you want to trademark it? Trademarks for me have always been, I've considered them to be, they are a brand name. So that's where you want to trademark something, where you have a brand name that people are actually searching for. Phrases, I know people do trademark them, but in my opinion, that's a very difficult thing to judge. Yes, I'm sure there have been examples where it's been worth it for people to trademark something. It's usually when they want to prevent other people from copying it. And in my experience and with print-on-demand sites, it's not always necessary to have a trademark to protect against people copying it, because most people, like I say, they just pixel for pixel it and I can get them taken down, or they're very lazy, so they're not good enough to challenge my original design. So yeah, those are some of the things to consider. It's not a black and white situation. Brenda, I checked, and cello is trademarked for a business, but it's my instrument. How do I get around this for designs? Just don't worry about it, Brenda. Cello is not a trademarked phrase that is going to stop you from creating designs around it. If it is, then it's a problem with the platform, because legally, you can't trademark cello for designs. And the only what's the word? The only caveat there is, for example, a brand like Gucci. Like if there was an instrument called a Gucci, and then you have this brand called Gucci, which are obviously very well known, then that would be a problem. And and they're famous for making T-shirts, for example, and something like that. But in general, you should not have a problem uploading designs around cellos. The only problem would be if you're trying to play off that brand, which obviously you're not. So I really wouldn't worry about it, Brenda. I think people overthink trademark when they get as far as you're getting into it like that. It's really not an issue. Sharik, hello, Michael. Do you need a lot of designs on Redbubble to get sales? Any specific number you think you should have before you start getting sales? Sharik, I had 3 designs on Redbubble before I started getting sales. I'm not saying that that's, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because I think it's much more about having a good idea that targets the right people. And that can be one design. And you only need to have one in order to start making those one sales from that design. So yeah, there isn't a number, and it really depends on things. But if you want to make a lot of money, if you want to make a lot of sales from your artwork, then having more designs is the quickest way, the most reliable way to do that. Janelle says, good morning from Utah. Good morning to you. Joe says, do you sell a course and platform to build a website? Ah, yeah, I know what you're talking about, Joe. So you're talking about Simple Shirt Site, which I sold a few years ago. You want a PDF version of that, did you say? I don't really understand what you mean by that. But I'm not really selling that product anymore anyway. John, when you have an original quote that sells well, make a ton of different designs and flood the niche. So yeah, John's kind of backing me up, I think, on that one rather than trademarking. Fiona says it can take 6 to 9 months for a trademark to come through. And you have to prove it's a brand, not just a design. So there's another important factor there. Adbinor. Hello, Michael. If you see your design is visited a lot but not bought, what should one do? Improve the design, probably, because it means that they're looking at it, which means there's interest and there's a market for that, but they don't like your design. It's not good enough quality. Eric, Printful or Printify? I use Printify mostly because they are much more reasonably priced, and I find the quality to be negligible, if at all different. Glenda made it. Good to have you here, Glenda. N. Holloway had someone trademark the word heathen, which caused a design of mine to get taken down. They had an active trademark, so that kind of thing is possible. Yes, it is possible, Brenda. Sorry, N. Holloway. Brenda says thank you. And John has a way of dealing with copycats. Okay, I'm going to stop taking comments for a second so I can get through these designs here. Okay, this one. It's not that I'm lazy, I just don't care. And we have a goat, I think, who's just laying down. So what can we say about this design and give some advice on it? I think, again, this is really a very generic design. It's going to be very hard to compete on something like this. I don't really like. I looked. I think you sent the your Amazon listing for this one, whoever it was. Excuse me. And you didn't mention goat anywhere, which made me concerned about why you've chosen to use a goat in this design. Because I guess you're just hoping people might be looking for something about people who are lazy, or lazy joke T-shirt or something like that. I think it's going to be a really hard sell because, again, we've got a kind of generic phrase. We've got very little to set it apart. At least there's some effort gone into the design and the layout. I think it's still a bit basic. There's some design issues like this goat on a black T-shirt. Like, we can't see the edges of the line work and stuff. So that's kind of an amateur kind of error. So yeah, I just think there's not a lot I can really advise on this. If you're trying to target people who like jokes, then people who like goats, then you need to make it more about goats than just a generic phrase, if that makes sense. Okay, when life gives you lemons, roll a joint. I think for this one we have at least a unique phrase, if you like. I imagine that's what it is. When life gives you lemons, roll a joint. I think design-wise, there's something to be said. The illustration is original and decent. I think what's really lacking in this design is the lack of interplay between the elements, and it doesn't look like a T-shirt design at all. It looks like a postcard or I don't know, something very flat and two-dimensional. So the way to obviously fix that is to give your text some curvature, to have some interplay going on, to play with the layout, because you've got quite a long phrase. If you see like how this design's been laid out, the text is smaller and then bigger, and it's there's some interplay to make it more attractive, visually appealing. So yeah, that's something I would recommend with that one. This one here, Trash Can, New Gang in Town, and it has a raccoon or a couple of raccoons with tin cans on their heads. I like this one because it looks like a t-shirt. I think it looks like a t-shirt design, but I have no idea what we're really getting at here, what the joke is, or what I'm missing. So yeah, don't really know what to comment on that, but I like the limited colors. I like the illustration style. If there was a stronger joke, there's plenty of jokes around raccoons and eating trash and stuff like that. I just don't really get what this is going at. And then this one, the Moose Sire. So I think this was a kind of reference to a joke, or there was a viral video, I think maybe of a moose that looked like the moose was walking on water, and then that became the Moose Sire because he could walk on water. So I think this is a good example, actually, of a great joke, a great viral story, a great trend to hop on, because this has both short-term appeal while there is a viral joke of some kind going on, but it also has long-term appeal because Moosaya is a funny pun anyway, and that's going to be funny in 5 years, just as it's funny right now because of a viral video of a moose walking on water or whatever. So this is a good concept to create a design for. What lets this design down is, as you can probably guess, it's just far too basic, dead white, no colors, no emotion in it. I think you've also perhaps tried to tie it too closely to the walking on water thing, whereas it maybe doesn't even need to be tied to that. The approach I would take with a design like this is to do a nice illustration, detailed illustration of a moose that looks like Jesus with a halo, with a robe. You can illustrate Messiah in a nice kind of holy black letter, old style font, kind of religious looking font. Hopefully you can kind of see the approach I take with that. Something like that approach, I think, would be much more appealing, and that would be a kind of evergreen design then. So you kind of kill two birds with one stone, if you see what I mean. Like, you're able to get some sales, hopefully, from the short-term trend, the kind of viral uptick, but then you also have this kind of evergreen design, which is completely original. You've got your own original spin on it, your own style on it, and then you can continue selling that for years, and who knows. And I have designs like that. It was a viral trend 3 years ago, but it's still selling today because it kind of has a long-term, a core joke that's still funny. That's funny whether it's 2020 or 2016 or whatever. So yeah, okay. And before we go to our last two, I'll take a few more questions or comments. Last fruit. From which tier you should consider Etsy since it's extra work? I know it's worth it, but Amazon seems to bring the most of the return. Yeah, I would just, as long as you have something that's working, keep doing it until you start seeing diminishing returns. And I wouldn't, it wouldn't be like, oh, this week's sales have started to go down a bit, so I need to switch to Etsy. It would be more like, let's look at the past 3 or 4 months and then decide, okay, I've kept up my Amazon designing, but it's starting to really taper off. It's starting to plateau. That might be the time to wonder, or to at least ask the question, would it be a better return of your time investment to then go and start doing something like Etsy instead? So yeah, there's no hard and fast rule, but I would say that's a good approach. I think a mistake I made early on was stopping too soon. I think I could have carried on with merch and should have probably carried on plowing more and more designs in, but I kind of got distracted because my Shopify store was taking off. It's not that either of those things is bad, but sometimes if you have a fire that's already cooking, then the best thing to do is to just keep throwing more fuel on the fire, because you don't know how big that fire could get. And then you can review that. And if you keep putting fuel on the fire and the fire is actually not continuing to grow, then after a while you should ask yourself, hey, actually this isn't doing anything. I keep doing more stuff, I'm not getting any more return. So that's the time to ask about trying something else. Okay. Algerian said, did you notice that traffic from Vietnam is dominating TeePublic lately? I did not, Algerian. Accidental Fire says they could implement image recognition algorithms to stop this, but they choose not to. Yeah, I think that's something something that's been in the offing for a while. I think TeePublic a few years ago launched some kind of image recognition. It obviously doesn't really work, on their platform. But there have been noises around different platforms implementing stuff like that. Amazon apparently does have that, or did have that, but goodness knows, how these things are working. They don't seem to be working. I do think next year and going forwards, we will see, it's going to be harder and harder for platforms to keep the doors wide open. And I think we will see the tightening of stuff, whether that's, having to get your account approved, or having to jump through more hoops to get approved, or them implementing more severe image recognition stuff. I think solutions are on the horizon, hopefully, but certainly they're not rocking yet. Redbubble and using apostrophes in titles. They're sometimes shown as unmarks. Is it a glitch? Sorry, I really don't know about that at all. I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's unlikely to make a huge difference, I think. Drew, the cannabis one, lemon is a strain, but that isn't clear in the design. Yeah, good point, Drew. Obviously, if you're trying to target a particular group, then they may get that joke, where I would not. So yeah, last fruit. Thanks. How could I position the moose sire design keyword wise? Well, really simply, moose lovers, moose hunters, I don't know, whatever, people who are into mooses, all those keywords. And then you do all the other stuff from the other side of the joke, the Jesus stuff, Christianity, Bible, Jesus. Because when you have a joke like that, the moose sire is a combination of the Messiah and a moose. And that there's two groups there. People who are into mooses would probably find it funny. People who are into Jesus, for lack of a better term, would also perhaps find that funny. And because it's funny, because it's a joke, you also have a generic appeal. Simply funny t-shirt, something like that could be just a funny t-shirt that people respond to. They don't have to be moose lovers or Christians to find that a funny joke, and they might want to wear it on a t-shirt. So there's actually, there's three different groups to go at with keywords there. You've got no shortage of keywords to throw at it, I should say. So yeah, just go at it. I mean, I think what people are looking for when they ask that question about keywords is, yeah, but people aren't searching for moose Jesus design. Well, no, but they are searching for moose, and they are searching for Jesus, and they are searching for funny t-shirt, and they are searching for funny Christian t-shirt, and they're searching for funny moose t-shirt. So there's lots of options there. Eileen says the Moosaya looks like a brand. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's not a great t-shirt design. It looks more like a logo. Last fruit, generic memes with the title of the trending meme. I put in the title and it didn't work out. And Holloway, perhaps the future is more artistic, abstract products that are hard to copy. Yeah, I think I've been saying for a while that your designs have to be original. You have to have some original elements in your portfolio to set you apart, especially if you want to build a long-term business from it rather than just short-term sales. Okay. And Dick says, yeah, problem with copycats is they can set something up. Yes, again, I think it was ever thus, and we will see hopefully some changes on that as well. And obviously the long-term fix, or I should say the real solution is, don't rely on these platforms to be your be-all and end-all. There's never been an easier time to reach people and sell through a platform you control, like your own Shopify store or something like that. So yeah, all platforms have this problem. There's a big issue with copyright and trademark and all that copycat issue. But it is possible to build something of your own that you control, whether that's an Instagram account, social media, and to sell through channels which are not just based on organic traffic. in the first place. Or even, there's things like T-Fury, there's other platforms where you have to jump through more hoops. And so once you start getting sales through those, it's very hard for people to undercut you. So that's something else as well. Okay, let's go through these last two designs and then I'll take questions for another 5 minutes or so. Okay, so I said this was anonymous, but I think we know who this one's from because I forgot to block out her name on the side here, but I'm sure she won't mind. Irina's design, I Will Be My Valentine. So the reason I think this design is has a better chance is because it's truly original in style and approach. And anyone who's seen Irina's designs before knows that this is her style. And she has had success with this style. I think she just posted a message today in the Ideas Workshop community about how one of her designs was part of a Facebook campaign or something. So the reason I kind of like to give, I guess you could say, the benefit of the doubt or something to a design like this is that Irina's already proved that her style can be successful. I might, it's not a matter of personal preference or anything like that. You may or may not like the style. I think this particular design is very nice and clear, and I think there is a market for kind of a loose, sketchy, kind of scrappy, design approach on t-shirts. I think it sells. There's certainly a clarity to this design. There's limited color usage, which is very good. Concept-wise, I'm not saying it's the strongest concept in the world, but I think we can get the idea of I will be my Valentine, I will be my own Valentine or whatever. That's fine. And I think you could see a design like this, selling on a platform like a fashion platform or something like that. You could see how it would be appealing to perhaps, teenage girls or something like that. So yeah, it's unique. It stands on its own. It's original. It's probably going to struggle on organic platforms, but at least it's if you've got 100 designs like this, at least, and they're all original with a kind of original quote and an original approach, and the design is nice and clear like this, I think you've got something of real value. Whether or not those necessarily generate the big bucks on Redbubble or merch or whatever. So yeah, a few comments coming in on this one. Ken just said matches what her audience expects. That's absolutely true. She has an audience that likes her style. So obviously it makes sense to keep doing it. That's absolutely right. Drew says, love the design. It's unique. Absolutely. And Eileen likes it too. And then Holloway looks good on t-shirts. So yeah, there's a lot to like there in that approach. Like you say, in Holloway, it works on a t-shirt. And it's surprising how, you look at some of these designs, how difficult it is to create something that does look nice on a t-shirt. A lot of these don't look nice on a t-shirt. This one certainly, I think, would and does. This design, not sure who this one was by again, but there's a lot to like about this. Medieval Swingers Society. So we've got obviously a kind of pun here with the mace and the swinging and the knight. So that's good. We've actually got kind of double puns. We got here, we be clubbing every night. You could spin this design off into at least 3 or 4 different designs. You could have just Medieval Swingers Society as a good enough joke on its own. Then you could have one that was just, clubbing every night. I think that would work as well. So you've got options here, definitely. I think if anything, this design could be a little bit over-engineered, both in terms of you've thrown a couple of jokes at it, and design-wise, the illustration looks great. Obviously, it looks really detailed, and that's fantastic. It could even be a little bit too detailed. You could even row this back a bit, and it would still, look very good on a shirt. I'm not sure. I'm not completely convinced about the kind of layout approach. I think with a solid joke that strong, Medieval Swingers or We Be Clubbing, I just think I'd like to see a few variations and a few different approaches and a few different illustration styles. I'm not sure about this particular shape. It makes it a little bit hard to read as well, like medieval. Am I reading Swingers Medieval Society, or am I reading top and then left and then right? So there's a few ways you could, if you want to go the badge approach, it could be a simpler kind of badge shape, kind of typical badge shape, rather than this kind of full leaf clover kind of thing. And then you could take it in different directions as well. You could have um, for example, if you do something like a society or a club, sometimes it's nice to have, rather than just one person, have a collection, have a group of people. So rather than just one knight with his mace, have a few of them in like a little, I don't know, like a photo shoot kind of thing or something. So yeah, I think there's a lot of different approaches with this, and I think that's a solid enough concept that you can take it in a few different ways and it will work. I do particularly like the illustration style though, and I think that works well. When you're talking about like knights, this is nicer than, I think this is a better approach than doing a cartoon style knight on something like this. I think it enhances the humor to have a more traditional, if you want to call it, realistic approach to the design. Okay. Anna Holloway likes that one. Irina says, thank you. How would you improve the design? For yours, Irina, if we're talking, I don't think there's much you can really do to improve the design as it stands. I think, if there's a weakness in it, then I think it's going to be the concept and trying to get it found by people. I think the phrase "I will be my Valentine" is fine, and I can see that working to a certain group. What I can't see it really hitting is like people who are just searching for a funny Valentine T-shirt. It could do, and you just have to put it out there and see. But yeah, I don't think there's really. I suppose we can get into the nitty gritty of, is this face a bit wonky and stuff? But again, it's your style, so yeah, I would kind of just a design like that. I would, and I did chalk up hundreds of such designs with very simple illustrations and graphics, and you just put it out there and see. And you don't obsess about each one. You just get them out there, and I can see, or I assume that with a design like this, you can crank them out. It's not taking you hours to draw this graphic, so you should be able to churn through designs like this and get a lot of ideas out into the world, distributed, and then you can have some data on what works and what doesn't. Okay, I will take questions for the next 5 minutes maximum, and while I do that, I will leave this little graphic up so you can see. If you're interested in more help about t-shirt design ideas, getting your designs off the ground and creating ideas that really resonate with people, that people really want to buy, then check out the Little Book of T-shirt Ideas, which has just been updated. It's available at michaelessek.com/book. Okay, I am scrolling back to see a few comments that I've missed. Okay. Last Root said, regarding the keyword, doesn't it confuse the algo? So Jesus, animals, and generic mean. Does it confuse the algo? I don't think that's really, that wouldn't be my concern. Because unless you're, I suppose you could take the approach of, I'm going to go just after the Christian community or whatever, like funny Christian t-shirts with the Messiah design. You could go that approach. I mean, by all means, try it. You could do one where you just target moose type keywords and upload the same design again, but just target the Christian type keywords and see which one works better. And then maybe do one where you combine the two. My approach would be to combine everything and just kind of hope for the best. Yeah, I suppose there is a chance you can confuse the algorithm. It's never been something that I worry about too much. When I think about confusing the algorithm, what I mean there is people throwing like 5 or 6 different things together, like Christmas, birthday, Halloween, Father's Day, blah, blah, blah. That's what I would call confusing the algorithm. I think if you keep it to a few little niches, then there's less chance of that being really an issue. Red Bubbles must do something with keyword spamming because it's a pain in the in tag generator. See the bunch of same words and see designs ranking for it. Yeah, I mean, keyword spamming is here to stay until platforms find a better way of ranking content. But this is the main issue here is, of course, that platforms benefit from an open platform that is organic and where people can bring the design. So that's what makes Redbubble what Redbubble is. If it commissioned designs, or it only allowed certain designs or something, they wouldn't have the growth that they've had. They wouldn't be able to target all the long tail niches. So there is that balance to be struck. I think things will start to lean more towards a more curated approach. We're already seeing that with certain sites like Redbubble. TeePublic does not have a wide open door policy anymore. Yes, you can sell anything on TeePublic, but they're not going to necessarily stick it in the search results. So we're already seeing stuff like that. Gerardo, what design programs do you recommend? I'm a Photoshop boy through and through, but if I was starting from scratch, I would use Affinity Designer or Affinity Photo. Those are much cheaper, and they do 80% of what you're going to need from Photoshop. Lance, I have a design of a Jesuit priest dunking a basketball. The title Jesuit. Do you think it is? Oh, right. Just do it. Do you think it is too risky with regards to Nike's Just Do It? No, I don't think so. And as long as you're not obviously doing the tick or anything like that, then I think that would be fine. Patrick, tier, crying, tier, top tier. First tier is bottom, top tier is top shelf. Okay. Backstage, thanks. And then we had comments about Irina, just scrolling through. Backstage, I like the clubber's design. Will the silvery color print out fine? Yeah, I mean, I imagine this is going to go on a dark t-shirt rather than the white we see it on here. I think the silver would not be a problem. Obviously, it's not going to be silver effect, but it's going to be a light grey color or something. Yeah, I don't think that would be a problem. Arthur, does the Nike design need to be marked as mature in Redbubble? I don't think so. I think it's vague enough. It's unlikely to offend a child because a child is not going to understand it. And it doesn't include any bad language as such. Borderline on that one. I don't think it's a clear one either way, but it's not, the worst it's going to cause is someone to ask, Mummy, what does that mean? Rather than, it being a horribly obscene graphic of some kind. Dick, Michael, where do you get your designers and what kind of monetary rate do you set? Dick, I have worked with my two designers for several years now. I found them via, I think, Behance and 99 Designs originally back in the day, but I had to do a lot of searching to find them. I basically looked for people who could do the kind of artwork that I could do, but I didn't have the time to do it. So I was looking for particular styles of illustration. And I basically worked out an agreement with them, which was I would give them something like 100 designs a month if they would do it for this rate. And we worked out a rate that was agreeable to both of us. That rate has changed over the years as things have moved on. But yeah, it's really hard to give a hard number on that kind of stuff. I think it's really a process you need to arrive at. And I would sit down and kind of run the numbers yourself to try and figure out what you could pay. And then just start working together with a designer that you like to try and figure out if you can find an agreement there. I do think it's harder and harder to get good design at a good rate, especially if you don't know what you're looking for. I was able to get my designers on a pretty good rate initially because I was giving them 80% of the work. All I was asking them to do was illustrate something. I would give them a sketch. I would give them the layout. I would give them, I'd get them most of the way there. And all they had to do, for example, with this, I would have sketched out the position of the guy's head, where he's facing. I would have given a rough sketch of the arms. And all they would have to do is come in and make it look like a proper finished illustration. So if you're doing that kind of stuff, you're going to be able to get that for much cheaper than if you're going to someone and say, hey, draw me a knight like this, and you don't give them any help, and you're expecting them to do an original illustration from, not from a reference image, but from something original. That's going to be a much harder sell. Okay. Grey Elephants Club says, thanks, no problem. AAAE for automation tool, any plans to make it work on Airtable? I think you're talking about Artwork Automation. There is a version of Artwork Automation that does work on Airtable. I think it was Artwork Automation version 2. And if you have Artwork Automation, any of them, then you should have access to that. So if you're looking for that, you should already have it. Jacqueline says, fantastic session, Michael. Thank you, Jacqueline. Autodesk Sketchbook is good, says Anne Holloway. Ray says, thanks. Richie has a good joke here. Clubbing every night is another one. Good play on the night. So again, a double pun joke there. That's very, very cool. Tomatore still uses Coral Draw. Anna Mattress, is it too late to come up with Christmas designs? The answer is no, because Christmas comes around every year. Or it has so far for all of my 35 years. So yes, Christmas. I mean, well, actually, for what you've said, is Trump going to be a thing next year for Christmas? People going to be looking for Trump designs? Don't know. Certainly more generic, open-ended Christmas designs. I would happily create them year-round and not worry about it. I wouldn't expect necessarily to make sales from it this year, but that's the joy of Christmas and Halloween and other generic holidays. They come around every year. Amira, thank you. Great insight and info as always. Thank you, Amira. Bo says, thanks for your live sessions. Your vast knowledge and experience answers questions that are frustrating mysteries. Your insight is amazing, and I appreciate you sharing it. Thank you, Bo. And Ivana, can you show an example of a good T-shirt design? Yeah, the night one was good. I like that one, and we liked Irina's. They're both pretty good. Don't have any major issues with those. Raymond, I really like many of the designs, especially at first sight. I'm kind of nearsighted. Dick says approaching 80 years in a couple of weeks, so looking for help. Eileen says thank you. Ken says great content as always. Thank you, Ken. Accidental Fire, have a great Christmas. Brian, thanks for what you do. Backstage Cam learned a lot. Thank you. Code Whisperer says thanks. Okay, yeah, I think we will wrap it up there. Thank you guys for your kind comments and for joining me today. Once again, last plug for the book, 16 proven T-shirt idea formulas. These are formulas you can use for any market or niche or trend or topic. And there's 16 of them, 2 extra ones added in the recent update. Have a copy of it here. Nice new glossy cover, custom illustrations, wonderful last-minute Christmas present if you don't already have a copy. Available in ebook and paperback versions. So michaelessek.com/book if you want to grab that. Okay, that was our last T-shirt design review session for 2020. Kevin says, when making a collection or line in the hopes of being picked up by Hot Topic or others, any tips? I think we'll have to leave that one for another session, Kevin. That's a bit open-ended for this late on in the session. Angie says, thank you. Lance says, thanks for all the knowledge. We'll be naming my first yacht the Essek. I will give you permission to do that, Lance, as long as you take me on a ride on your yacht. Lulian says, thank you. Irina says, thanks. Richie says, thanks. Brenda says, thank you so much. Have a wonderful holiday season. Let me just remind you, this is not the last live stream. I'm going to do one next week. That will be our last one of the year, so don't get the wrong impression. We will have one next week as well. That will be our last one of 2020. Next week, going to talk a little bit about some lessons from 2020 and some trend predictions for 2021. So I think you want to join me for that next week. So until then, have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great weekend. And I will see you next week for our last live stream of 2021 after 2020, after which I'll take a break for a few weeks. And I hope you will too. Okay, thank you, Tomatori. No problem. Thank you, Mutant Chisel. Thank you, Bass. And I'll see you all next week, if not before. All right. And check out michaelessek.com/book and check out michaelessek.com/live for free T-shirt design tips and resources. Completely free at michaelessek.com/live. All right. We'll leave it there for today. I'll see you later, guys. Thank you very much and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.